Wanyanyekova looked at Kenji and asked. What is your gift with which Sabaoth has blessed you? Kenji said. Self-healing. Wanyanyekova turned to Jamie. Jamie, we'll have to wait for your gift and enlightenment, but according to these logs and the people, there was supposed to be a shipment of new slaves a few months ago. No one showed up. No sign of another ship, even coming to this location, which makes me feel as if he was doing something behind the rest of their backs. Jamie interrupted. Abeni B6 operation at Laguna de Bustillos is continuous, whether or not he comes. Because of the heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana merger that he, Alpha Quebec 1, and Oedipus have together. Wanyanyekova said. There goes those names again, AQ1 and Oedipus. Why, am I not surprised? Okay then, Wanyanyekova said. After the surveillance of Cuauhtémoc and until you two get trained. He took a deep breath. As a matter of fact, Obe and myself will train you too. I need to send you both to El Paso. I need to know if they were running a renegade outfit, or were they trying to fulfill some kind of mission. Tell no one and report to no one, but one of us here in this room. Wanyanyekova then said. Kenji, please continue. Kenji continued. Well, as a child, my job was cleaning up, and in my teenage years I too worked the incinerator, and by 20, I was withdrawing blood from new slaves as they looked for the oldest DNA-mutated strain to learn how to eradicate it. They were looking for ways to erase your race by using biological warfare that would only destroy your people's DNA strain. But there are at least 3 more levels that go down in that place. I do not know what they are doing on those levels. Jamie interrupted. Researching and testing synthetic drugs. Kenji kneels and starts drawing on the floor as he continues. It's built much like a box or rectangle about 30 yards by 130 yards. This is inside the lake called Laguna de Bustillos. You have one small 2-story building here, and there's a communication tower and another tower on the east side that controls the large doors that open up when the ship arrives. The ship rotates at 0 to 180 degrees back to 0, then it does a 360-degree turn, but when it unloads, it sits hovering over the lake, and it does a 260-degree turns, and a light beam empties the bodies. They are alive, you can see them moving, but they are wrapped in some kind of gel. Wanyanyekova stood there listening, then suddenly stared off into space and stood up. Kenji, you, Jamie, and Obe discussed the matter in detail. I have something heavy on my heart. Our training will start first thing in the morning. Wanyanyekova reached for the intercom, and with great pain, shouted. I am Ikumbi. The entire camp came running. He walked outside and stood on top of one of the small buildings, speaking into the microphone. Forgive me. I have forgotten your pain, my fellow warriors, and you are not just warriors, you are my brothers and sisters. If you know that your loved ones are alive or think that they are alive, please go and find them. If you find peace and want to stay, by all means, stay and tell of Sabaoth goodness. But know this, you are all welcomed back with open arms. But those that return with you must serve Sabaoth to stay here. Many of the people started talking amongst themselves. Wanyanyekova continued. How many of you would like to go see if your family is still living? 47 had raised their hands. Go now, but I'm afraid you must go afoot because we do not have enough resources for each man to have a horse. But go, and find out, and if they return with you, so be it. If they do not and you want to stay, you shall stay, but if you return, please return with seeds, livestock, and things that will help us grow. Go in groups and stay in groups until it's time to part ways. Wanyanyekova jumped off the building and returned to his tent for the rest of the day. Early the following day, after training with Kenji and Jamie, a group of 8 people headed west, followed by a group of 12 headed north. By noon, a party of 13 headed east before the last group prepared to head south. Wanyanyekova stopped them. Aldhib and his wife Joy, along with 7 more, shall accompany you to see about this city of Cuauhtémoc. With strict orders, he told Aldhib, Joy, and their crew, stay in the shadows and watch and observe. However, everyone must carry their communication devices, but no communication between you, except in an emergency. Return within a week or two with a report. You need at least one speedster. Axel raised her hand. Okay, because if one of those spaceships arrives, I want to be there. As they all left, there stood Wanyanyekovu with Jom and Nariglisser. Nariglisser said, Okay, everyone has at least a week's worth of ration. That leaves us with 45 men and women and about 2 weeks' worth of food for us, but we got the lake filled with fish. Sabaoth is able. Wanyanyekovu smiled. Sabaoth is able. Listening to Nariglisser speak, Wanyanyekovu said, Hold on, don't you have something for me?